Hello all, Nikhil here from Home Now again with a very interesting video. With me is Girish, who is in the pest control business from, well, as long as I can remember. And they are someone who's doing pest control for some of the largest companies in India, for the government in India. Girish, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, can you give a quick introduction about yourself before we go further in the video?
All right. Nikhil, firstly, thank you for having me here. Myself, Girish Nair. I am running this business called Hygienic Pest Control. I'm a second generation entrepreneur and we have been in this line for last 40 years.
Wow.
I am also the current elected zonal secretary for IPCA, Indian Pest Control Association. That acts as it's a private organization which also governs the training and the skills for a pest control company.
So, with Home Now, most of our viewers are homeowners, architects, such professionals, etc. With pest control particularly, you normally don't see a lot of people think too much about it. You only find people when they have a problem think about pest control, right?
True.
So, can you just give a very brief introduction of how the pest control service works, how the pest control business works, considering you've been doing this for like 40 years now?
Correct. So, yes, pest control is an industry which has evolved over a period of time. Flashback to 1960s in India, pest control was minuscule. Only few people or few companies knew about pest control. But eventually with urbanization, the pest problem also has evolved drastically. Bed bugs, cockroaches, rats, rodents have become a major issues. So these needs to be handled in a professional way. That's when this pest control industry got evolved over a period of time. Today, if I had to evaluate this industry, it's a 4,000 crore industry in India today, pest control industry. But still, in spite of that, the awareness of pest controlling is very minuscule because customer is not aware of what is happening. That's a major problem. Like a vendor comes or a technician comes with a pump, he's there at your doorstep, he comes in, you allow him inside. You are allowing a technician to enter inside your private space to carry out a treatment which you are not even aware of what is being used. Let me give you an example. You might have noticed there are people who come and apply gels in your kitchen cabinets. That gel is called as fipronil. The percentage of composition is 0.05%. So it's very less, but still it is there in that. So you can't call that chemical as a green gel. That is, I feel people have to judge themselves whether genuinely they are green chemical or herbal chemical. I will not go in depth of that. But then normally in pest control, all the chemicals are synthetic chemicals.
Okay.
So when you are handling these toxic chemicals, you have to be very careful also. There are multiple cases where fatalities have happened and people have lost their lives.
So actually guys, the reason this video I wanted to do and I reached out to the pest control companies which I know, the main reason for it was a recent death of a child and hospitalization of her parents because of bad pest control. So in this case, I mean, because Girish is someone who's professional, works with the top government agencies in India, does pest control for them. I'm really curious specifically on this case. What went wrong? What happened? Can you just take us through?
Okay, this is from the media sources what is available, and I went through the entire the case history. So what has happened is there was an acute cockroach problem in that house. Right. So they are the tenants of that house. But then what happened next is they had complained to the landlord about these problems, and then the landlord said he will address the issue, and he got some chemicals from online platforms and sprayed it himself without awareness of what the chemical is, how it's to be administered, and what precautions had to be taken pre and post the service. So next, what happened was, so the victim's family had gone out of station, and then they preponed their journey and then came back 2 days early. So this has happened this Monday. That's the 1st of August 2022 when the family came back early morning, and they came and I think they slept off. By around 11 o'clock, the child had suffocation, basically a respiratory problem. The same had happened to the parents as well. But unfortunate case that the child, before the child could reach the hospital, the child was declared dead. This is been, as per the police investigation as of now, it's been declared that it is because of the pest control which was carried out. The whole reason for a pest control is to control the pest so that it doesn't create nuisance to somebody's life or their property, but it should not affect their life.
So let's get into a little bit more details about pest control. Typically speaking, what are the different forms of pest control? What are the different kinds of pests normally in cities and areas? What are the pest controls to control these? What are the different formats of applications? Can you educate us through about all these things?
Perfect. So, various pests are, in general, what we have for our urban pests, I would say, is cockroaches. Obviously, the kitchen, the restaurants, all that are affected by that. Second is your mosquitoes. Mosquitoes cause public health nuisance also, wherein malaria, dengue, chikungunya, these are the effects from mosquitoes. Third, we have rodents, rats. Rats, leptospirosis, plague are other diseases which are caused by rodents. Then you have flies. Then you have smaller pests like spiders. These also create nuisances in your property. Then another vertical is termites. Termites may actually not cause more of a human loss damage, but comes to a property damage, huge, because termites are those which feed on the cellulose which comes out of in any wood, paper, cloth, anything. So what happens is they breed under the soil, but then they come up for cellulose and they destroy all your property in terms of wood and wood products. So that is this one. Pigeons or bird controls have become a big nuisance lately when it comes to urban areas. People have started feeding these pigeons over and over, that they multiply to huge numbers, and then pigeon droppings. Pigeon droppings can cause a lot of danger to asthmatic patients.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is another pest which is there. There are another pest which was not there a few years back, was there, but then not so heavily present all over the urban areas, is bedbugs. Bedbugs lately have breeded very well into our ecosystem. Basically, see, you and me, we travel in Uber, Ola, even aeroplanes, wherein what happens is you might be carrying one or two, and then they self-multiply very fast over a period of time.
Any other kind of pests with food and all that?
Food, flies. Flies are a major reason of nuisance when it comes to food industries, and when it comes to food safety.
Okay.
Food industries, especially let's say any milk dairy or food processing units, flies, what happens is they breed on sewers and gutters and all, and then bring that the bacteria and all to these processing units, which can be a huge nuisance as well.
Okay. So you've told me a list of all kinds of pests. Can you take me through what are some modes of application to take care of them?
Yes. So let's start with cockroaches. See, cockroaches, we do a thorough spray treatment, especially where is food. Cockroaches breed where gutters are there, sewers are there, and then there is kitchen cabinets. Let's say like on Home Banao, all our viewers, their own kitchens will have a lot of cockroaches lying around, where they will feed on those food or on the food which is left on the surfaces, the kitchen slabs or surfaces, where is it. So they eat, and then they over a period of time keep multiplying and they grow. So for that we do spray treatment. And another one is, as I told you earlier, of fipronil gels. These gels are like a tube format which we apply inside the cabinets, so that now the times have evolved, we don't have to empty the kitchens anymore. We can do the gel application, and then the cockroaches come and feed on those baits, the gel, and then they die, and the rest of the cockroaches try to feed on those dead cockroaches. So that it's a cascading effect. Now coming to, let's say, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes, we do two more methods of treatment. One is larviciding. That's the most ideal method, but unfortunately in our industry the least used as well. Because larviciding is basically the treatment of the larvae and pupa, which is at the water level, itself you're trying to kill those mosquitoes so that they don't multiply and grow into adult mosquitoes. Now coming to adult mosquito, we do mosquito fogging or indoor residual spray.
Okay.
Mosquito fogging, you might have seen, it's a fogging machine which is used. It is mixed with diesel and a chemical and then fogged around so that it affects the adult mosquito and kills the adult mosquito. Indoor residual spray comes to basically internal areas wherein we do a thorough spray for the walls, and when the mosquito comes and sits on the wall, it comes in contact with the chemical and will die. Same goes for flies. We can do treatments for flies by spray, or we can also have fly bands, strips of brands wherein we can tie it on the ceiling or on walls and all. It tries to have an attractant. The fly comes and sits on it and it comes in contact with the chemical, it will die. So that goes for flies. Now rest of the general pests like spiders, silverfish and all, we do a thorough spray control for the same. Now comes to the major problem of rodents.
Yep.
Unlike any other pests, rodents are very smart. Like you can try doing an exercise in a square room, leave a rodent on the one corner and keep a bait on the other corner. Bait can be any food item, anything which is an attractant to that. It will never diagonally cross the road. It will go to a corner and come back to the other corner and come and eat. That is because they are very scared. They walk or crawl around the side of the walls for the specific reason that they feel secured doing that. And if a bait is put and a rodent dies, other rodents will not come and eat the bait anywhere around that, because they are very careful that something is happening like this, and the other rats in that colony will not do that. So rodent treatments can be done for external areas like mainly burrows, external burrows and all. We do treatment by using bromelain cakes and all, wherein the bromelain cakes pieces are put inside the burrows and sealed, so it kills the colony. Once it tries to eat the cake, it will die. So that is
for external.
External.
Internal?
When it comes to internal, we use glue pad baiting or called bait stations. These bait stations or glue pads are internally kept deliberately because we don't keep poisons. Many offices or corporate offices or even residences now do have false ceilings. So we deliberately use glue pad baiting. What happens is it's a gum pad sort of thing, and we keep a bait in between. When the rodent comes to eat it, it gets glued to it.
Yeah.
Stuck to it. So it's easier to discard as well in that way. You just close it and discard it outside in a proper manner.
Let's move on to termites.
Yes, termites is a total different process. As I told you, termites affects the structure of the building
And the property
itself. So the treatment also is various. So we do two types of treatments when it comes to termites. One is called as a pre-construction anti-termite and another one is a post-construction anti-termite. Basically, the simple difference is pre-construction is done when the construction is going on for the building. So that is done in 3 stages. Once the soil is removed, the first soil is removed, we do a thorough spray treatment for the plinth. After that, when the backfill, the soil is placed back on that, we do a rodding and we do chemical injection for that.
My God.
And then the third treatment is we do an external perimeter.
You have to do so much for termites?
Yes. And we provide 10 years guarantee if required on stamp paper.
Wow.
Based on what product we are using and what services is required.
Generally, if I'm quite curious, in India, which regions have you seen termite infestations?
Termite is there all over the place in India, more towards the coastal regions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any particular reason?
Red soil is a major favorable factor which is there. The hot and humid climate which is there in the coastal areas.
So let's move on. Next is
post-construction anti-termite.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. There is a post-construction. So till now what I mentioned was pre-construction.
Yeah.
So post-construction, let's say existing house, your own house is where you're living. You are already living, and then unfortunately at a later stage you realize that there is termite which is affecting your kitchen cabinets, your wardrobes, anything of that sort. Then we do a post-construction anti-termite treatment wherein we drill holes every 1 foot distance approximately, and then chemical inject and then seal it.
Oh.
For internal and external walls and internal partition walls also. So what happens is basically a chemical barrier is created under your house.
Okay.
So that with that barrier, the termite which has a colony somewhere either below or close by to your house can't penetrate up. For that we give approximately 5 years guarantee.
Very nice. Okay. So let's move on. Bird control is something you mentioned.
Yes.
I had no idea about this.
Yes.
I mean, I don't live in a high rise, so I I guess not. But
Nowadays, even ground floor and single floor houses also are getting affected by pigeons. See, pigeons were not a problem few years back.
okay.
But then lately, since we have started feeding them drastically, they multiply very fast.
I think Kabutar Ja's song was a big
Yes.
problem. But yeah.
And even Dilwale Dulhania, where he says, ow,
Yeah.
yes. But what happens is, so for pigeons, we do control by 2-3 methods. One is bird netting.
Okay.
So we use HTP bird nettings, wherein a stainless steel framework is done for your windows or balcony doors or wherever is required, and a framework is done, and then the HDP nets are just stapled
Okay.
onto it. So what happens with that is, one is HDP is UV resistant. Being UV resistant, what happens is it will not dismantle or break over a period of time. Next thing is, what happens is, because it's just stapled as and when required, when your maintenance comes up, you can remove it and then put it back. Where netting is not possible, we do bird spikes.
Oh.
These are spikes wherein we are placed on parapets or ledges where you have in the end, so that the pigeon will not sit on those corners and then do droppings on the floor below or your car or your residences.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Now coming to bed bugs, which we lately been interested.
So I before you start about bed bugs, I'll tell you my experience with bed bugs.
Please.
So I probably didn't know you at that time, so I didn't end up giving you a call. We just ended up calling some random person, and we had a bed bug infestation.
Correct.
So my room had bed bug infestation. Then it slowly went to my parents' room. It went to my granddad's room, and become a huge issue. To a point where I started thinking I have insomnia because I couldn't sleep, because there would always be something or the other biting me or whatever it is.
Correct.
So then what did we do? We got pest control done. And I don't think it was a very professional organization. I don't think they were certified. We didn't check all of this. It just came from someone told us, try it out, and we were desperate. We were like, "Theek hai, karao yaar, kuch bhi." So he did something. We didn't sleep at home for 2-3 days. Once we came back, we could see some dead bed bugs. And we were like, "Theek hai, clear ho gaya issue." And then we cleared that out. A few months later, again bed bugs started. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So then I started doing some digging, and one solution which popped up was steam kills bed bugs.
Yes, it does.
I was like, screw this. We got a steam cleaner, a Karcher steam cleaner. It cost almost some 13,000-14,000 rupees.
Correct.
And for a course of 14 days, we steamed all our bedrooms daily. And I think that cleared our bed bug infestation. We've not had one since then.
Correct.
So now you can share, I mean, coming from a professional, what the route which I took, did it make sense or no? Or what would you suggest?
Definitely what you have done is correct. See, steam does kill the bed bugs.
Okay.
But what happens is, bed bug, it will only kill the adult bed bugs, not the eggs.
Oh, okay.
So a bed bug treatment has to be done in, our recommendation would always be 2 treatments in a 15 days interval. Now you'll ask, why 15 days? Why not 20 day or 23rd day or something? 15 days, because 15 days cycle is their life cycle. Okay. From an egg to an adult, it takes 15 days cycle. So what we recommend is, we do a treatment on the first day. We do a thorough spray for all the entire room. Now when you did the steamer around your house, you might have mainly concentrated on your bed, mattresses and other piece. But then you have to understand that bed bugs are pests which can survive in very small cracks and crevices, which you might not even, small cracks on the wall, in between the bed channels, or where the joints are there of the bed or wardrobes. So that's where it survives. So a thorough spray treatment on the first day. With a brush, we also scrub all the sides of the mattress seam.
Oh.
Because the eggs will be there somewhere around there, which will eventually grow to an adult. So that we
My
do
pest
on the,
control guy never did this. Okay.
sometimes it's more of the awareness and how the life cycle of a bed bug is. You have to understand that before you start a treatment. So we do that on the first stage. Then the 15th day, post the 15th day, then we do a second treatment that is just a precautionary, because if just in case any egg is survived or any bed bugs which is by any chance, because as I told you, these are very small insects, as you had an experience. It's technically not even visible from our human eye. Only when they suck in your blood, they grow slightly bigger and then they are visible. So once that is done, so we do the second treatment after 15 days to just make sure that there is nothing left out of them and they survive.
And even if 1 or 2 bed bugs survive, they can repopulate.
They can. They just multiply very fast. Now, let me be clear on this point as well. Many a times, bed bugs, people ask, I want a bed bug treatment to be done with a guarantee for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. Realistically, not possible. Not possible. Can you lock yourself inside the house for the next 5 years? Not possible.
Correct.
See, we travel outside. We meet multiple people. We are, let's say, bus, train, cabs, aeroplanes, anywhere, any mode of transport. We move around. We just bring few of them in just a bag or a cloth, and you will not even realize it that you bought it. You will always blame somebody else, but then it might be that you bought it inside the house and then they multiply. So nobody can genuinely give a guarantee on these.
People who are giving guarantee are probably lying.
I not contemplate there.
So he can't tell it as the business owner, but okay. You're in the pest control business, so this will be an uncomfortable question for you. But what are some normal lies you have seen in the pest control business being peddled by people who may or may not be professional or trained or educated?
Very common, very common.
So some examples of lies?
Yes, very simple is, as I told you now, let's say bed bugs. They will say that, okay, you do one treatment from us and then bed bugs will never come. How can you guarantee that? Nobody can guarantee that, as I mentioned. So that's not possible. Any pest in general, they all randomly give guarantees and on pests not evading your space. It's not realistically possible. The consumer wants organic foods, fruits, everything, and now they want chemical pest control also be done organic. Let us be clear, there are some products, but then what is proven and tested is all synthetic chemicals today. When you, let's say, Nikhil, you call pest control services for your house, okay, and then he gives you a quote X, and then you say, "Arey sir, मेरे को इसमें online platform में ये मिल रहा है, और we get this at this rate, this get cheaper, that." Okay, you can understand that when a person comes to your house, there is a fixed component of a person, labor, which is coming.
Correct.
Okay. Today, the minimum wage is approximately 750 rupees per day. Correct. As per the government standards, I'm saying. Correct. So, you have to have that component which is fixed. When a person is coming from an office or any location to a place, there's a transport component. That's also fixed. Correct. So, this company who's going to negotiate their cost for you, because you're bargaining, let's say example, what is he going to cut corner on? He's going to cut corner only on the chemical aspect of it. Right. Because that is technically not the visible item here. The customer wants very low rates, which is technically not viable to carry out a treatment. So what will you do? So these companies which are there, and since post-COVID situations are bad for most of the companies. So business is less, the volumes are less. Since pandemic, when the budgeting and all is happening, one of the few items which gets cut off is pest control. Of course, because that's not their core product. So it depends on what product you are using. So
according to you, normally when you see very, very cheap rates, most likely the chemical is compromised.
Yes, there's no other, because
that's the logical conclusion.
Yes.
Apart, these are some of the things which sellers peddle.
Correct.
What should be the questions which consumers ask?
Correct. See, there are lives in stake. So let us not neglect the fact that there are these situations which I told you earlier of fatalities are happening around us. I want is that the end user should always select a vendor with some background, some feedback collected. One. Secondly, when even a technician comes to your residence, you have the full freedom to ask him what chemical he is going to use. And next thing is, Is he mixing in the ratio which is supposed to be?
Ask for the ratios.
Yes, please. Please feel free to ask questions. If might be the technician might be not equipped to answer, but the company definitely has to be equipped. Otherwise, the company should not be operational. So I would say you can ask for an IPCA certification from your vendor. So these are couple of steps which can be taken into consideration when selecting your vendor.
Okay. So you spoke a lot about pest control. You spoke about a lot about the kinds of chemicals available. I would like to understand the costing aspect. So how, of course, a lot of the costing is dependent on the chemical rates, which fluctuate a lot.
Correct.
But normally speaking, for 1,000, so let's take my example, 1,600 square feet, 3 BHK home. So what should I expect to spend here for pest control of cockroaches, mosquitoes, rodents, flies, and bed bugs, say, for example?
Let's say general pest, which includes cockroaches, mosquitoes and spider, silverfish, and all that.
Before you answer this question, so my next question is quite interesting. A lot of people, especially in urban areas these days, live in apartment complexes.
Correct.
And a lot of times apartment complexes, maybe you're taking care of your home, but it's pointless because your complex may have something screwed up.
Correct.
So how do you navigate that situation to make sure you're pest free?
Correct. Okay. Let me come to your first question first.
Okay.
So when it comes to, let's say, cockroaches and silverfish, spiders and all that put together, let's say 1,600 square feet, approximate you should budget it from 1,200 to 1,500 rupees. Approximate, I'd say. See, again, it varies. It depends on proximity of the service provider from your place or his availability of a service close by to your place. There are multiple things. So I'm not going to specifically mention a price, but then this should be the approximate range. But suddenly when you're saying 1,200 and somebody comes to you, says, I'll give you at 400, 500 rupees, it should ring some bell that something is going wrong somewhere. How can he do that?
Yeah.
So let us evaluate that. Now, your second question is a very crucial question. We are all, including myself, we live in apartments.
Yeah.
We have 200, 300 apartments together, clustered together. So what happens is, yes, it brings up a different challenge altogether. You might keep your house clean. You might keep your house in pest control done in a proper manner and everything is taken care of. But then your neighbor might not be doing it, or a house below or above you might not be doing it.
Or you may not even be there.
You might not be there, yeah. Yes. So then it is a challenge. In such cases, if possible, the apartment complex altogether, taking it as a whole unit and doing a treatment will be always a beneficial amount. You have to bear in mind that when you have more numbers, you will have economies of scale, you will have a better price as well applicable in this case. Now, another one benefit by doing this is your chambers where these cockroaches will be breeding or other pests are breeding are normally not inside your house. It is outside on the ground floor, somewhere outside the building, at least 1 or 2 meters away from the building. There are the chambers, the gutter chambers or the inlet, this ones. So that needs to be treated as well. As you rightly said, pest controlling might be a 50-60% of the treatment. Rest is partially your surroundings which is there or your maintaining of your property. If you, how much ever you do the best chemical, best product, everything, and if you are not cleaning your house clean, pests are going to come.
Makes sense.
Nikhil, now just I'll go out of the way and give you a couple of small tips now. So just for our viewers to understand what are simple steps to be taken. Very common mistake people do is having an open dustbin,
right,
especially for your wet waste. Please make sure it's a closed dustbin with a lid or something of that form. Make sure another step, very simple step to be followed is after your kitchen work is over at the end of the day, I'm specifying especially kitchen slabs, you can wipe your hob and the slab with any cleaning product.
Colin, whatever it is.
Colin, phenyl, anything. Okay, just the surface. Because what happens is, during our transaction of taking food or preparing food, there's always spillage. We might not notice it, but then there will be spillage around the slab or the wall. So always it's easy. It's just a 2-5 minutes work. You just wipe off the entire area and make sure that it is clean. What happens with that is, because there is no food available on the surface, you will see a reduction of pests altogether.
Great. I mean, this was a wonderful interview. I think we've covered a lot of things. Guys, if you have any questions, please let us know in the comment section below. I'll get in touch with Girish and try to get an answer for it for sure. In the description, there'll also be a link where you can directly order pest control services from Girish. Thank you so much for this, Girish.
Thank you, Nikhil.
And we'll see you guys in our next video.